Everyman for Everyone, the show where we take a little bit of time to discuss the format of Jason's creation, his love of the game has caused him to just make a format that he thinks would be pretty cool and competitive, and that is the Everyman format. Couple updates as we are getting started into things. First of all, thank you guys for joining us this week. We always love your company. I apologize for last week. I completely forgot that we were having a major party at the office, and it was a very big celebration, and I was going to be in no condition to do any sort of show in any way, shape, or form that day or the next, to say the least. So it was also like I said, a very important celebration, and it was a good old time, and unfortunately it left me without the ability to run the show. So I want to apologize for that. Apologize for everybody who's looking for Into the Mind of Madness this week. Yesterday was, of course, Halloween. We had to take the kids out, and just the entire ordeal was exhausting, and I had to cancel at the last second. So I'll try to make up that show possibly this weekend. We'll see. Amber's shrugging me. She doesn't care what I do. We are adapting to Amber's new work schedule as well. She's been doing a fantastic job of bringing home the extra bacon, as it were. So anyway, that's personal stuff. It's time for story time. Story time. Last week's episode should have covered this, but I didn't get a chance to cover it. And as well, for those of you looking for the format, in the link below, I have updated the document. So we now have the most recent set included in our collection of, oh my gosh, my glasses right now are just a mess. Our most recent set has been added to the collection of sets legal for it, including the figures in the range of 1 to 16 that are not prime, and the Runaways Fast Forces. Woohoo! Awesome. Good stuff. Always exciting to add new stuff to the format. We had discussed Secret Wars in brief, and it's going to be interesting to see what other ideas come from that set. But the most important thing that has happened has been the change to WizKids and Rock. And a lot of you are asking, well, Jason, what does that have to do with us? Let me tell you what this has to do with us. There's a important note that Howard made during his speech at the Rock. And the important part of that was the format of Winamaps is wide open. Now, what this means is there's going to be an official format of tournament format. I'm not talking about game format, but there's going to be official tournament format in which Everyman will be competitive and be graded with a better prize set. Now, what I mean by a better prize set is the Rock is still planning to run their kind of format. So there's going to be state levels. There's going to be Winamaps, qualifiers, and so on and so forth. The so on and so forth, I don't care about as far as this show is concerned, because they are stuck on strict formats and a seasonal format as well. Though I'm not sure if that is going to continue or not. Like I said, there's still a lot of things that need to be worked out between as far as details are concerned. WizKids has officially announced that this format is or that this deal has been made, but there's certain details for officiality's sake or for official sake that need to be sussed out. Sorry, I'm just turning my phone from vibrate to silent because I forgot to do that. So what does this mean for Everyman? Well, what this means for Everyman is that Winamaps are now a viable purchasable tournament format that will have WizKids Con exclusives, Rock maps, and will be allowed to use this format, and will have valid national level qualification points added to it. So, national level tournaments, national berths. To explain those of you who don't understand the high level competitive, allow me to just dive into that a bit. So, there is, in WizKids, there's a WKO, there's Nationals, and there's Worlds. Okay. A win at a WKO means the day that they hold Nationals, you do not have to do a qualifying tournament. Because when there is a Nationals tournament, a Canadian Nationals, U.S. Nationals, Chilean Nationals, Brazilian Nationals, so on and so forth, those tournaments have qualifiers leading into them. Okay, so there will be 2 days of these tournaments. Day one will be devoted to qualifying for these tournaments and side events, and then day two will be the main event, which is everybody who qualified for it. Now, a WKO win qualifies you for a national level tournament. A nationals top 25% gets you into worlds, and you do not have to do that day before qualifying stuff. And this year for Worlds, in order to qualify the day before Worlds itself, there's two tournaments in which you can do it. It could be Team Worlds or a single qualifier in singles competition the day after, right after that as well. And that's going to be all in one day. And then the next day will be the tournament. Boom, that's it. All right. So that is our nonsense for the high level. In the future, once the Rock and WizKids kind of merge, there's going to be a point system. And certain levels of tournaments will earn you points depending on placements. And points don't go anywhere. Okay? There will be a 100 points will earn you qualification into a nationals tournament, and those points never go away. Okay? So if I win 100 points this year, in 7 years I can go to nationals. This is my understanding of what Howard presented. Okay. So, that said, win-a-map tournaments are going to have 30 points for the winner. What that means is it's not all of the points you need, but it is some of the points that you need in order to get to the future of Worlds and Nationals levels tournaments. This is not a bad thing at all. All exciting news. And I know in my own store, my goal for the Win-A-Maps throughout the year will be one tournament will be modern play, one tournament will be sealed, one tournament will be Everyman format. Though sealed might change to 2 Everyman formats. We'll see. I do know that it will be popular for that level of tournament, given that everybody who says this game is pay to win has to put their money where their mouth is and see how good they are at playing the game. Okay. So that's our exciting news for the format. This week, it's time for build time. If you're watching live, I need some suggestions for characters. We'll start on a character and go from there for the most part. Because for the most part, we have covered Cable in the past. We've covered Cable, we've covered Batman Beyond. We've covered Loki, and we've covered I think that's actually 1, 2, 3. There was a fourth figure we covered, I feel like, and I might be wrong. Oh well. It's gone. It's gone for good. I want it back. Anyway. So it's time to start getting a little wacky, as it were. I like being wacky. Wacky is fun. And if nobody's got an idea, let's goof around a little bit on HC Realms and see what we come up with. So, or even a keyword. If you're watching live and you've got a keyword that you want me to discuss, that would be fun too. Because I didn't come in with a good plan this week. I'm not going to lie. I planned to talk about what we just talked about, which is exciting news for the format. Meaning we have an actual wide open competitive area in which we can play and not have to worry about disruption. Here's a big thing about when you create a format is when you go wide scale with format, you create a disruption. And that disruption is the thought process and the general idea of the player base. And this is one of my quirks I have about the Rock and one of the quirks of the Rock, as it were. If you are running a Rock tournament, prior to this merger with WizKids, also I'm going to have to dig deep in my soul and decide whether or not Rock maps are going to be... I think I'm going to have to let them go for the format. Anyway, when it comes down to it, the Rock has a certain number of rules that are different from WizKids, and in the current iteration, the pre-WizKids Rock merger situation, there's still a lot of things they do differently, and there's a lot of questions that get raised by that. And that's kind of a disruption to the general flow. Where I would draw a comparison is, imagine we're talking about Star City Games versus a Star City Games 10K versus and I don't even know if that's what they call them, but like one of their major tournaments versus a Grand Prix of Magic. And as far as everything is concerned, short of prizing, which is fine, that's allowed to be different because that's financial element, format runs completely the same, right? The Rock has taken upon themselves to change certain things that I think like some of them I like, other parts I think are cause too much confusion, and the Whiskey is making a game, guys. And it also punishes build types as well, and I disagree with that completely. So the Rock, as an example, and this is what I like. The Rock has decided last round is instead of last action, and if you're that action, whatever action you're in the middle of, you finish. Like, so if I said flurry and they called last action, I finish my 2 attacks and that's it. Where the Rock says last round, if I went first, my opponent gets to go, or if I went second, after my turn is over, that's it. Okay? So that's the Rock. And I like that. I like that a lot. But then there's a confusion that gets created when it comes to ties. Because the Rock wants to solve the ties in their own little way. And I think WizKid's way is perfectly acceptable in the fact that we roll off dice. I mean, that's it. We had a tie. We drew. And the most reasonable conclusion is, okay, well, we have to roll off because we tied the game. The Rock, in Swiss, I believe it was both players, if it's a 0-point draw, then both players lose, which was weird. And then if it's in a certain situation, like if it's in the Swiss rounds as well, I believe it's a click off or something like that. Like, honestly, because I can't just outright say this is what it is, it's silly. And ultimately, the Rock shouldn't be doing this separate of WizKids. WizKids format should be unified. Now, with Rock and WizKids getting along now, I'm hoping things from the Rock stay, such as last round, and everything else stays WizKids. And then, Rock maps will be legal, but WizKids is going to kind of go, okay, this one, not this one, not this one, not this one kind of situation. So, overall, it's good news, but when we talk about, so that thing, as far as disruption, Rory, new Maestro's uncommon. This is commons and fast force figures only. So when we talk about this disruption, if I start pushing this as this should be the competitive format, that starts to confuse people and that starts to create a disruption in the mindset. That's why I kind of say this should be a win a map format tournament only now coming up, or a local venues running a win a brick or win an expensive figure, but you kind of even the playing field in this way. And I think that's kind of the goal in it. I don't want to over disrupt. So yeah, Rory, you caught me. You got it right. He is an uncommon. So no disruptions is the best way to go, and I don't do not want to push the format that hard, to say the least. It's hard to say that, but then at the same time run an episode of a show where I'm spending a lot of time talking about it. It leaves me in a weird place. Anybody looked at this Captain America? My goodness. I was looking. Oh my gosh, look at these stats on a 75. But this guy is so cool. I love him. I love him so much. It's a shame you can't shifting focus with him in the format. But Sheriff Steve Rogers is common. All right, let's build around Sheriff Steve Rogers, shall we? So what we do in the show, and thank you very much, Rory Zog, for your suggestion. I actually kind of like this one. So Sheriff Steve Rogers, what we'll do is we'll start with our keywords, and then after our keywords, we will kind of build best, as it were. So when it comes to Battle World the Valley, we are very limited. Crossbones, Gunslingers, and Steve Rogers. Why not 6 Steve Rogers? I'm being silly, of course, but it's not unviable. He's 6 range. He's got running shot. Get one adjacent to another, like you get a whole daisy chain of guys who you've got to attack with your stats, and they get to change theirs. So short of some outwit, and even with that outwit, they still have to go base stats against his 18 defense. Weird World and this Sheriff Steve Rogers have this great effect of saying, you know what? No, we're just going to run with what you have, and then 18 defense is going to feel good now. That's what I like about Weird World and Sheriff Steve Rogers. All right, so we go back to Sheriff Steve Rogers. Battle World of Valley is a new keyword, and it's a very limited keyword, so it's not going to be the keyword we build around. So we're going to move to past now. I think we discussed past in the... Yeah, I did that. I'm going to discuss past in the past. We're going to go commons. We'll go with the past keyword, and we'll see what we can come up with here. Past. Bam. All right. HC Realms update this. So these guys are not legal for the format. I think we got some stuff from 15th anniversary. So you could go Cowboys in this case. Steve Rogers can work with Diana Prince. Diana Prince, because she'll share a keyword. Both of them are going to have leadership, which means you have the ability to possibly remove 2 tokens in a single turn. In addition to which, you have Diana Prince, who's look at that dial. It's a thing of beauty, right? This is a good dial for 70 points in common. As well, she's got her special leadership. She can use leadership, and as a unique modifier, when she does and succeeds, other friendly characters that share a keyword with her modify their attack and defense by +1 until your next turn. That is good. That is strong. Imagine Steve Rogers with those bonuses, right? Because he's going to have his defense on defense. And, if they're attacking your Steve Rogers, they got their base attack. Even if they outweight his energy shield, he's got a 19 defense now if she gets that leadership. Can't complain about that. Kid Flash is another... Wow. Look at that. Kid Flash. He's got full range on his attacks with hypersonic. Now, if you guys watched our Justice Riders versus the Valley game this week, Amber made an absolutely vicious attack with her Kid Flash, rolled an 11 with it. But he is a hard one to catch in general. 10 movement with that 6 range. That's an 11 square reach. That allows him to walk back to where he started, which is a huge, huge reach. 16 squares if you so decide to go that crazy. And of course, both him and Diana Prince will have the high noon trait, where if this character is the last character to hit with this trait, until your next turn, if the hit character makes a range attack, Kid Flash must be one of its targets. So that's also very good. John Jones is, I love this guy for this format as well. Always get my man trait. At the beginning of the game, choose an opposing character. If John Jones would get a second action token while adjacent to the chosen character, instead, he doesn't get an action token. So you move up next to a guy, and then you start attacking that guy, and attacking, turn after turn after turn after turn, hoping that you're rolling your shape change rolls in opposition, or just, making it so that he can't do anything, because this John Jones will not be taking the action token after basing, right? So... and this includes, like, I move and then I move next to him again, right? So, oh boy. We have this green arrow, very good, solid green arrow, solid stats. Buenos dias, dia de la muertes to you too, Indomito TV. Green arrow is an interesting choice with past. Wildcat, also really cool. And, of course, there's the Court of Vile Assassins, who we know are really good. Because somebody went 2-1 in a 4-person tournament with them. And this was over other teams that we tried to work out. That included things like Mudmen and nonsense. So, now, everything I just put on made it way too many points. I get that. And that's fine. Green Arrow is the most likely to get dropped because he can't really make use of the JSA thing. Though at the same time, Wildcat's probably easier to drop because Green Arrow adds to the range and all the PD team we already have on this team. And there are some low point pass guys. I really wish Guardian was still legal in this format. He is really funny, but does not fit into the format. You get the 25-point gunslingers, or there's also the 20-point gunslinger. They're both called gunslingers, oddly enough. One is a high noon gunslinger, one is a valley gunslinger. They're make your choice. It's up to you. We'll talk to her about her in a second. That's actually another good choice. So, Sheriff Steve Rogers does have that pass keyword, which looks really good. So, I would kind of roll with something like that very comfortably. But back to him, we go to advanced search. We're going to go modern age commons. And we are going to look at something else that came up there. I don't know if you guys caught it. Common, and the keyword is police. Policey, come and get me police. Police. Where are the police? Police. There we go. All right. So not much to work with on this one. We do have Thors and Thauruses. They are police keyword. NYPD officers. Why not add enhancement in PD? Oh my goodness. The 16 defense might matter. Who knows with Steve Rogers next. Of course, we have Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Bullocks. They're mediocre at best. We have the Fast Force Batman, corrupt GCPD officers, standard GCPD officers. Oh, we got, this is a good character, the Flash at 45 points. He's a pretty solid police guy. And of course, John Jones, Diana Prince also have the police keywords. And oddly enough, the Kid Flash doesn't have it. So police comes into a lot of the same choices as past when it comes down to it. You're actually probably better off with the past keyword. So we go back to this and we check for his last keyword in the common slot. And that is soldier. Soldier is one of those ones that ebbs and flows. It comes and goes as a strong keyword. It is super potent in Golden Age, that is for sure. Like, there are so many soldiers in this game and so much synergy between them. It is bonkers. So again, once again, we hit that a lot of samesies here. Hatsu's Zarazis are very interesting options because they have that range combat expert, that stealth and improved movement, ignore elevated, but only to drop down in elevation. That's fine. They're just still really solid 50-point characters who have toughness and impervious against range attacks. They have range attack impervious. That's not a bad thing. You've got Punisher, but you also have the Punisher Squad. These dudes are pretty cool. We have the Punisher with the bazooka from Avengers Defenders War, and the Captain America with awesome bueno leadership. I like him a lot. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I believe, is still legal, and nothing wrong with a Star-Lord, right? I have 12% of a plan. I like that. His odds have gone up. This mercenary's okay. Hey, look! Remember this guy? Soldier keyword. Gets a cable. So Sheriff Steve Rogers is part of it. Oh my gosh. Oh, there it is right there. Just build around this. There's 170 points of your team. Add 130. I'm a disgusting man. I broke my own format. I didn't break. It's fine. You can play this and still lose. Yeah, that's I'd say go around this with Soldier. Maybe even double up on Steve Rogers or Cables, and just gotta be done with that. That's super strong. That is super potent. Oh boy. All right. The next thing, and this character has been suggested a lot, and that is Athena. Personally, I would build around a past keyword with Steve Rogers, just because of the synergies he has with the Diana Prince. But that Soldier, like, if you're looking for some beef, Steve Rogers is part of a double Cable team, or a couple of Steve Rogers and a Cable could be gross. Athena has come up quite a few times. Athena is just a good character, which is acceptable. So she's got a couple keywords, one of which is, again, we fall into that. We're in a common format. We are very limited. Eternal is a tough one to build around, but there ain't nothing wrong with two Athenas and a bunch of thugs or a bunch of suited henchmen. Go crazy. Have fun, kids. It'll be a lot of fun. She's invincible off the start, running shot, psychic blast. So that's, you could go double Athena and get a couple extra things and have a really solid base for a team. But we can start fiddling around with her keywords. So we're going to start with armor. So we go modern age, rarities common. I bet you there's going to be a ton of characters named Tony Stark that fall under this. Sorry, named Iron Man. Look at that. First character, Iron Man. Iron Man. Firefall. That's an interesting call. Iron Man. Iron Lad. Dr. Stark. Iron Rick. I'm Iron Rick! There's a lot of Iron Men you can use with her in an armor-based... Oh, jeez. Look at that. Look whose miserable name is showing up again. This guy has too many keywords. Cable. He's also an option. Stingray, Cape Killer, Stiltman. Stiltman, here's one of the few Colossal Retaliators we have in the set. And also, something we missed in our Don't Die tech of the all-common format. Because you got to chop him down to size. And that's something I forgot to consider when we built that Loki team that's really hard to kill with the Ninja Turtles is Stiltman's got legs. Got them legs. Legs for days. And could be incredibly difficult to kill. He's won as part of a team in base format. So consider that. Of course, there's another Iron Man here. We have Batman Beyond. Also the armor keyword. Hive Trooper. Superman. And we have a Mr. Freeze. Yeah. That's kind of where armor, interesting. A lot of, armor is really the strong one where you can get Thena with some extra beef and something else. But let's see let's see if I learn how to do this yet. Let's see what deity has. Commons. Common, Golden Age, keyword is deity. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit trickier because I don't know how to use the search functions. Oof. Yeah, you actually have next to no options on this one. You can throw in a Mystic Wonder Woman, pretty good. And then from there we have Hercules from Civil War. I don't think deity's really going to be working. But I forgot to just build the team with Steve Rogers, but that's okay. We're kind of at a point where we could be using him as part of this. Warrior keyword. Have we taken a look at the warrior keyword in the all common format yet? I don't think so. Common, modern age, keyword is warrior. Come on out and play. Warriors 3, warrior. There we go. Boom. That's quite a few. We got Klingons. We could build with Klingons. Oh, I like that idea. Oddly enough, how does Thena not... Thena is not cosmic. I thought she would be, being an Eternal and all. Okay, so we have Thors, who are warriors. Crystal Warriors are warriors, of course. World Breakers are warriors. How about that? We've got Thor, Heimdall. You know what? The warrior keyword, this is one of those things that's just coming at me right now. Like, boom, in your face. This is going to be one of your more aggressive keywords to build with. Look at that Wonder Woman. Just because there's not... Warrior is not a keyword. This is going to be one of those things I don't do often, but let's talk about it for a second. Sometimes a keyword, just based on the words that it is, can give you an idea of which direction it's going to go in. Now... the reason I say that is the warrior keyword is a bunch of people who fight. Right? Can't really argue that one, right? Same with brute. You're not going to be expecting outwit and probability control from brute super frequently, right? Like, that's the brute keyword just generally emotes. This dude is big, dumb, punchy guy, right? That's kind of... So sometimes keywords you can assume certain things. Scientists, you'll assume they have outwit, perplex, that kind of stuff. So anyway, but Indomito wanted to point out Thena as an alpha striker, and let's talk about that for a second. Remember how I said you could do 2 Thenas in a single team and be almost pretty much done with that? Why not a Hellion with that? You have 2 Thenas, Hellion TKs. Both Thenas are in the face. Thena already has a 11 movement with running shot with 7 range. So you've moved her 6 forward. and then you move her 6 forward again, and then shoot 7. That is like, so 6 and 6 is 12. 12 plus 7, 19 square reach. What's starting area? So, but you're putting it all into it. Is the risk you're taking, and that's always the risk you take with an Alpha Strike. An Alpha Strike is by definition all eggs in the basket, smash, and let's see how many of them keep their yolks. That's how an Alpha Strike works out. So, yeah, Hellion, toss, go. And hope for the best. You could also, for that matter, have Thena TK'd by somebody. Her reach doesn't change. But you could throw a bunch of perplexes, some PD team abilities, some enhancements to kind of do that. But honestly, you can doubling up on it works just as well too. So, or you could just consider having like a TK. You'll need probability control, because one of those things about an Alpha Strike is you always want to kind of improve your odds. So if you go with one Thena, throw a bunch of stuff into her damage and attacks, and then throw in some probs in there so you're more likely to hit, is kind of the direction you would want to point at. So, okay, so it's been a pretty good episode this week. Excited to see how the new changes to the Rock, how many people adopt this format for an occasional competitive tournament in the Win-A-Map format. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the format. If you or your venue run an event running our Everyman format, the one in the link below, please email us at marriedwithclicks@gmail.com with the results from your tournament so that we can share them with everybody and kind of talk about what's kind of happening in the format. We've already seen one tournament from one of our viewers who had a really interesting showing of teams, including one we discussed on this, which was slightly changed, but another one that I didn't even fathom would be an option in the Court of Owls. So I want to hear from you guys running the tournaments, and I want to just keep this format going and just keep it healthy and be awesome, because just remember, guys, this format is about one big thing, making everyone special, because when everyone's special, no one's special. Have a good night, everybody.